Hi, this is Fish on a Heater with another Team Go Rocket Executive Counter Guide. I filmed another one of these probably a couple of months ago before the team lineups changed, and I'll put a link to that in the description down below the video. But to recap, essentially what I'm trying to do with these videos is to show the world that when it comes to the rocket battles, it's not about what you use, as it is more about how you use it. We've been playing Pokemon Go for a long time now, probably 3.5 years, I think it is, and we're all set to a particular pattern, which is anytime a new boss or enemy comes out, we find the mathematically best single Pokemon to counter that enemy, and then we find a whole team of that Pokemon, we grab the highest RVs we can, we max it out to level 40, and then send wave after wave of that Pokemon at the enemy until it faints. I mean, if that's working for you, if you're beating these leaders and Giovanni by doing that, I call that the sledgehammer approach, that's fine. Keep doing that. Whatever, I'm not going to tell you to change. Not going to tell you to change what's working for you. This is for the people who might be struggling, don't want to spend all that Stardust, don't have access to the best counters. The counters are not as important as the way you battle. I'll obviously give you examples. The three magical rules when it comes to battling these rocket leaders are quick fire charge moves, farming your energy, and switching your Pokemon regularly. Thank you to GoHub.com for this image here. It is a great rundown of the Pokemon, the lineups that the leaders are using. First, I'm going to take on Arlo. I'll show you what happened when I took on Arlo. Arlo, of the three of these, was the hardest to pick specific counters for, because there's a bit more variety in the Pokemon that he's using than there is with the other two. I'll explain more later. Here's what I decided to go with. Azumarill, Swampert, and Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales. The first and the last one are fairies, because there are a lot of dragons in that team, so I figured fairy would be the best thing to use against those. I've used Swampert specifically for that middle group there. The Charizard and the Steelix are pretty weak to the Hydro Cannon, and I've also given the Swampert the second move of Earthquake, just in case the Blastoise happens to come out. Obviously it's going to resist the Hydro Cannon, but the Earthquake is going to really crush it. And if I'm doing my job right, by the time the Blastoise comes out, Cliff is not going to... Oh, no, Arlo, sorry, is not going to have any shields left. So, you might notice one more thing, which is those Pokemon's CP are really low. Again, I wouldn't necessarily advise going into a Rocket Leader battle with an Azumarill and an Alolan Ninetales. What I'm trying to get across is that you've got to learn how to battle before you start worrying about what to battle with. Everyone will have counters guides, you know, there'll be lists of these are the top Pokemon to use. Learn how to battle, and then you can go find those Pokemon. So, ranting aside, here is that battle with Arlo. Now, I don't want to use the Azumarill just yet. I switch out to the Ninetales first. The reason I did that is because every time a Pokemon switches in, the opposing Pokemon will pause for 2 seconds. So, like the enemy. No matter if their Pokemon comes in or your Pokemon comes in, that Pokemon, the enemy Pokemon, will pause for 2 seconds. It also happens every time a charge move is used. So you really want to take advantage of those moments to really gain the upper hand. So I started with the Azumarill, switched straight away into the Ninetales, and by the time the Bagon started attacking, I'd already built up some energy. Every time you use a fast move, obviously builds up energy, and you can store up to 100 points of energy. Even after that charge move looks full, you're still storing more points of energy. So now I'm building up a little more than what I need, and then I use the Psyshock. Psyshock costs less energy than Ice Beam, so I'm going with that. Again, farming a bit more energy, getting up more energy than what I need. And now I've already got another Psyshock charged up. You might be wondering why I use Psyshock instead of Ice Beam. That just comes from experience. I've done enough Sylph Arena tournaments to know that the Psyshock would have been enough to feint the Bagon, and Ice Beam costs more energy than Psyshock, so if both of them are gonna take the Bagon out, may as well use the one that costs the least to use. Now, out comes Steelix, and I switch straight away. That Ninetales is still going to be there, and it's got a fair bit of energy already saved up. Once the Steelix are taken care of, that Ninetales is still going to be there, it's still going to have energy, and it's going to be a lot more useful than if I tried to take on that Steelix with it. Not only that, once I switched, the Steelix pauses for 2 seconds, and so I can use that time to build up some energy. The Steelix has Thunderfang, which ground Pokemon double resist electric moves, water Pokemon are weak to electric moves, so that adds together to just make it a single resistance for the Swampert. Hydro Cannon, I believe these battles were fought after the nerf to Hydro Cannon, otherwise Steelix would be gone already. Didn't quite have enough. Ooh, that's. Didn't mean to do that. Hope I didn't wreck anything. What was I going to say? I've lost it. Never mind. Okay, so I bring out the Azumarill, and it feints the Steelix with just bubbles. Out comes Salamence. Now, it happened very fast, so you might want to rewind or something, but I built up enough energy to get to an Ice Beam, and then I switched out back into the Ninetales. You can already see that the Ice Beam and the Psyshock are already charged up and ready to go. That Salamence is going to pause for 2 seconds, and I can build up some energy. It's not going to really help because my health is so low. And I don't take any chances too. I don't wait the full 2 seconds. I just use a couple of Powder Snows and hit it with the Ice Beam. And now it goes down. Now Azumarill comes back out. It's already got an Ice Beam charged up. It's called energy management. I haven't actually used that word yet. Energy management. And there it goes. Again, I want to reiterate that I wouldn't actually recommend using these specific Pokemon to take on the leaders. I'm just using them to illustrate the point that it's if you use good strategy, battling strategy, then you don't need anything good to beat them. So next we've got Cliff. Whenever I look at that team, I think Grass. Marowak is weak to Grass. Onix is double weak to Grass. Electivire, not weak to Grass, but electric moves are resisted by Grass. Tyranitar weak to Grass. Swampert double weak to Grass. Torterra, being Grass and Ground, neutral to Grass moves. Now, that's where your knowledge of typing comes in. I hear a lot of people say that they don't get into PvP tournaments because they don't know their typings. I mean, you do know your typings a little bit. Like, you know vaguely which Pokemon to use against certain raid bosses. I get that some of the more intricate typings, like how the Swampert and the Torterra work, might be a bit more confusing. But these are the things that are really handy to learn. The Stantler is a bit of an outlier because it's not weak to grass. Its moves aren't resisted by grass, and it does know a psychic fast move, which, because some grasses are also poison type, they can be weak to that move. So here is the team that I picked. I went with the 2 grass Pokemon and also Umbreon at the end there. The Umbreon is what I'm gonna take to beat the Stantler, hoping that it has a psychic charge move, fast move. It can also have a normal fast move, which would have made things a lot harder. I had to have a couple of goes at switching, and you can see how much damage that took out of my Venusaur. But it's not doing anything to the Umbreon. Now, Umbreon is using Snarl and Dark Pulse. Snarl is a really quick charging fast move. And Umbreon can also learn Foul Play, which for this particular scenario, a Team Go Rocket battle, Foul Play is the better move to use rather than Dark Pulse because it's quicker, has a lower energy cost. I only used Dark Pulse in this situation because I had it on the Umbreon already, and I didn't want to use a TM. So I'm chipping away at the Stantler. If you want to do this quicker, a better counter to use might be something like a Darkrai. Much higher attack stats. Still has Snarl, still has Dark Pulse. You might have seen there, I could have used another charge move to take out the Stantler, but I knew I could finish it off just using Snarl, so I didn't use that charge move. So now I've got that energy saved up for the next Pokemon that comes out. And it's Electivire. Now, I don't take many chances. Like, if I wait the full 2 seconds, it might get in a fast move and might feint me, so I'll just unleash all that energy I've saved up. And now it's going to go down. Now, what do I do next? I take out the Venusaur. I hit it with Vine Whip a couple of times, just enough to take advantage of that 2 seconds that it pauses for. That Frenzy Plant that it had charged up about halfway, and then I brought out the Alolan Executor. It pauses for another 2 seconds, and I've already got a Seed Bomb charged up. Now, if this was Ice Punch, this would absolutely wreck the Executor, being Dragon and Ice, Dragon and Grass. Farmed up energy there, and took it out on the next Pokemon, which was the Torterra. Not doing much damage there, but that's fine. We've got the Venusaur there, which will do a little more damage. Now, what happened there was, don't need to play, I can keep going. So what happened there was I took the Executor out of play. It's there in the back in case I need it. If this Venusaur goes down, then I've got the Alolan Executor there that can fire off one more charge move rather than letting it go down. And you can see that Venusaur had very little health left. If the Torterra had gotten out one more fast move, it might have taken out the Venusaur, and then my Alolan Executor is there to finish off the job. So far in these 2 battles, you've seen kind of a mix of letting my Pokemon go and saving it for a future time. So that you kind of might need to practice that a little bit. It's all about what Pokemon you know could be coming. So in that first battle, I knew there was a dragon coming at the end, so I saved the Alolan Ninetales because I knew that it would come in handy against a dragon. Here we go, what's next? Alright, so Sierra. Looking at that team, the word bug screams at me. Absol is weak to bug. Kadabra is weak to bug. Cacturne is dark and grass, double weak to bug. Same with Shiftry, dark and grass. Gallade, I believe, is weak to bug as well. Houndoom, neutral to bug because it's dark and fire, so they kind of cancel each other out. And then Lapras is there just as a combo breaker, I guess. It's got nothing to do with bug. Let's check out Sierra. I used Pinsir, Medicham, and Sizor. Medicham, great pick for Lapras and Houndoom. Lucario obviously better with that really high attack stat, but not everyone has a Lucario. Medicham can do the job here. Has to be maxed out, that one, so I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, Machamp is actually the best option there. If you don't have a Lucario, use a Machamp. If you have Dynamic Punch on your Machamps and you don't want to TM it, that's fine. Dynamic Punch does the job. Specifically for Rocket Battles, Cross Chop is actually a better move than Dynamic Punch because it costs less energy. Doesn't hit quite as hard, but if your Machamp isn't a high enough level to take out the opposing Pokemon, then you want to take advantage of that lower energy charge move. So, out comes Sizor, and it's got Fury Cutter and X Scissor, which is a very potent combination. That thing charges up quicker than I can say that thing charges up. Sierra's now burned both of her shields. I used my first. Farmed up a little bit of energy. Took it out with an X-Scissor. Now, I shouldn't have farmed up energy here. I should have just unleashed my energy and away I go. But now I've got that X-Scissor charged up. Don't use it straight away, but give it a second. Farm up a couple more Fury Cutters worth and then unleash it. Now here, I'm gonna let the Scissor go down. I think. No, I don't. I don't let it go down. I switch it out into the Medicham. Medicham's got Counter and Power Up Punch. Power Up Punch obviously not going to do much, but then every time you use Power Up Punch, that counter grows in power by 25%. So I just punch that Houndoom to death. Just punching a Demon Tiger straight in the face and it faints. And down goes Sierra. So, it's as simple as that. Like I said, I'll say it heaps and heaps of times. Don't actually use these Pokemon. I'm just using these to point out that you've got to learn how to battle, essentially. If you've been doing nothing but raiding this whole time, you're just used to tapping the screen, and letting your Pokemon faint, just send more Pokemon after it. It doesn't work like that now. Things are changing. You've got to think more. So learn those techniques, and then you can worry about which Pokemon to use after that. I hope that helps. I didn't use Giovanni just for the sake of time here. We've got Shadow Moltres for Giovanni at the moment, and I'm planning to, when I do that, use an Altered Form Giratina, because super tanky, Dragon type will resist the fire moves if it's got them, and if my Giratina's got Ancient Power, then Rock will be double super effective against the Moltres. So that's what I plan to use there. Hopefully this has been a huge help to you, and do all the regular things like comment, subscribe. If you don't do any of those things, that's fine. I'll be really happy if you just post like a comment telling me that you managed to beat the leaders or Giovanni using these techniques, or like a link to a video. I would love to see I would love to see people who are being helped by learning these strategies. I did see some after the last video I released, and it warmed my heart. I hope it helps you out too. I will see you on the battlefield.